A new version, a new Abyss. Hello everyone and welcome back to another guide video. The 4.0 Abyss just came out, and in this video we'll walk through the tips and strategies that you can use to clear floor 11 and floor 12 alongside with getting some stars and possibly 9 stars. Now let's jump straight to floor 11. So Chamber 1 first half is the same old tower defense. There'll be a bunch of pyro enemies. Just focus on the pyro specters since they will always aim at the monument, while the whopper flowers and slimes will always chase after you. And as long as you keep your distance from the tower so that it doesn't get hit, you'll be fine. Rinse and repeat this step, and then we'll move on to the second half. So for the second half, it's a little bit different. So this time you want to focus on the cryo slimes because the specters and whopper flowers will go towards you instead. Once again, nothing special here, just rinse and repeat, preferably being a pyro character if you want to break the shields really fast. And we move on to chamber 2. And an extra note for this specific chamber is that the enemies no longer spawn in waves, but rather they will spawn one by one the moment you defeat a single one of them, so be sure to keep that in mind. So, Chamber 2, first half, there'll be 2 fire crabs and 2 electro seahorse. Either go to the left or the right crab so that the other one can group up. Be sure to bring either hydro or electro against the crab and a dendro and a pyro character against a seahorse in order to break their shields, otherwise you will never be able to do damage through them. And afterwards there'll be true electro lava jaws, so what you want to do is hug the corner since their first move would be to charge towards you. Be sure to dodge their attacks, and after they're grouped up next to you, you just do regular damage, and eventually we'll move on to the second half. So the second half will have one of the cryo rabbit underwater things. So once again, either go to the left or the right rabbit to make them group up. Bring either a pyro or an electro unit so that you can actually break your shields and burst them down. And the next wave will have 3 water lizards. Nothing special about them, they can be grouped up together, they're not their bigger variant, so just be mindful of their projectile spitting attack as it will drain your energy if it hits your character. After you clear this wave, there will be 2 cryo lava jaws. Do the same thing that you did in the first half, basically just hug a corner and they'll be sure to charge towards you. And after that, just try not to get one-shotted, kill them, and then we'll move on to the third chamber. So third chamber, first half, we don't have anything special. We have 3 Nabushis, just burst them down as usual. And after you kill them, there will be 2 Kairagis. So you can do 2 things with the Kairagis. You can either chop their health down at the same rate and finish them off at the same time, or you just focus all your damage into a singular person so that the other guy will enter phase 2 and you just do the same. And eventually once you clear them, we will move to the second half. So the second half is the good old Premier Geo Vishap, and he's always the Hydro variant, and which means he will have more Hydro resistance. Once again, there's nothing really special about him aside from that one move where you want to have like a shield to kind of defend yourself against the Primordial Shower attack, but you can kind of dodge or just tank a little bit and they'll be fine. So because it's the Hydro variant, it will have more Hydro resistance, and the only thing to be mindful of is to just kind of dodge his attacks or be out of his range, because if you do get hit without any resistance, it will actually stagger you quite a bit. And once you are done with this, we will move on to floor 12. So for Chamber 1 of floor 12, we have the same old Magu Kenki. He does have 2 phases, you just do damage to him as usual, but try to save your elemental burst until he enters the phase 2. So once his health is roughly at the S part of his name, the Swordsmaster, he will do a power move which will bring him to phase 2. So if you want to reliably dodge this attack, you want to stare and watch his movement. The moment his feet touches the ground, you can dodge by immediately dashing at the moment that it happens, and you should be able to kind of not take any damage from this attack. Otherwise, you might get one-shotted. And then just kind of wait a little bit, save your elemental skill, save your elemental burst, because what he'll do is he will teleport backwards immediately afterwards, and sometimes he just does a simple charge up swing and then he will teleport backwards immediately. And after he swings, he will basically teleport on the opposite direction of where he's facing you, basically on the way to the back, and then he will do another power-up swing. And immediately after that power-up swing, he will try to basically dash forward and unleash 3 wind blades, which preferably just try to dodge. There is a tech that I figured out that if you were to stand roughly in front of him, like exactly the right, if you can position yourself right, he will push you a little bit when he teleports forward, so if you have some degree of skill, you can take advantage of that. Then afterwards, just use your burst elemental skills and burst him down, and we move on to the second half. So the second half, we have the new Hydro Phantasms, or Eidolon boys. I like to call them the Water Droplet boys. So what you want to do is you want to go to either side, go to the stairs at the end of the chamber so that you can pull the ones on the other side to make them come closer. My personal recommendation is to focus on the first 2 or 2 at a time, because my experience of trying to group them all together and having all 4 of them at the same time, I just watch my characters just get one-shotted, and I think most of you guys don't want to deal with that. Even through Zhongli's shield, by the way, they just do that much damage. And watch their appearance, because they have a form where they immediately bulk up and they basically do this slapping move that can do a lot of damage to your character. They also have another move where they basically shoot this continuous laser, so you want to dodge as much as possible so that you don't actually get finished off. Once that wave is done, we have 2 robots and the Cryo Assassin Mage. Focus first on the Cryo Assassin Mage because she can slow you down by applying Cryo, and then you can focus on the Gun Robot because the Saw Blade guy will always follow you. Then clear that last guy, then we move on to Chamber 2. So Chamber 2 first half is the new overworld crab boss. He basically has a pyro shield. Keep in mind the moment you start the chamber, he will immediately hit directly in front of him, so try to dodge, or maybe otherwise if you can't, it's perfectly fine. Try to bring either Hydro or Electro here to quickly break his pyro shield, otherwise you are going to take forever to burst him down. So just be sure to dodge his attacks and then slowly shred out his pyro shield. And once his Volcano pyro shield is gone, he will get stunned for a little bit and he will have reduced resistance. Try to do as much damage as possible and rinse and repeat until he is dead. And then we move on to the second half. So the second half, there'll be the Eremite Pyro Lady and the 2 Eremite Day Thunders. You want to go for the center. So you want to try to go for the Scorpion that the Eremite Lady spawns to stun her and decrease her HP. And after you clear all these Eremites, the second wave will spawn, which are the new alien balls. So one alien ball will be a Geo alien ball and the other one will be Dendro. So just focus on whichever one whose element you can kind of break their shield, because the faster you break their shield, the faster you kind of stun them. Though do be a bit careful because they do a little bit of damage and they might be able to kind of chuck you down pretty fast. Otherwise, we move on to Chamber 3. Chamber 3 first half, you want to go for the left gunner and make sure that you hug him and make sure that he faces towards the opposing side of the other gunner, so that when he dashes back, he will dash towards the entire group. Once that is done, use your abilities and try to focus on both gunners until they are dealt with. After that is done, focus on the Dendro Snake that the Eremite Lady spawns. Same thing as the previous section, just to stun her and decrease her HP. Once you clear the first wave, you want to go for the gun robot, which is at the front part of the chamber, since the dancer robot is melee and she will chase after you. Once again, rinse and repeat, nothing special, and we move on to the second half. So the second half is one of the other new overworld bosses, Coppelia and Copernicus. This time we will have the male variant Copernicus. So preferably bring a Pyro, Electro, or maybe a Geo character, because he will do a move where he will send out his female partner out dancing in the outskirts and he will apply a Cryo Shield. If you don't have this Cryo Shield, you will have a hard time trying to kind of just do damage to him. And he will do this phase 2 to 3 times before he stops for an extended period of time. So do keep that in mind, because if you're not able to break this shield within that period, you're essentially losing a lot of time. And do be mindful of the Anemo lady dancing on the outside, because she will release a few wind blades, and trust me when I say those wind blades combined with the cryo dancing of the guy in the middle will literally shred the Zhongli shield, as you can see in the footage right now. Then just kind of rinse and repeat when you have the right elements, and just relax at the center, be sure to just not get one-shotted, and once you're able to clear it, there it is. And that's about it. So here are the builds for the video. Right now, I have cleared this previously, so you can go check out that video at the outro later. But otherwise, if I were to just talk a little bit about what I think about this Abyss, I think this Abyss does have a bit more health because we have new enemies, the robots, which I would say compared to like a treasure holder or whatnot does have more overall HP individually. But in terms of the way that it is made, I think this Abyss is pretty good, because if you were to die, you can always go back, revise, and strategize again, try different teams, and you can eventually clear it. And enemies are not spawn 3 miles away. And they actually walk towards you. And even though the droplets have a chance to one-shot you, you can actually kind of strategize around it and bring the right elements. But otherwise, I think this Abyss is pretty solid. So I wish you guys the best of luck in the future runs that you may do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, before I end that, once again, like and subscribe as usual. And if you guys have any feedback, any suggestions, maybe you want me to run a specific team against this Abyss, just let me know and I will try to test it out. And if it does work out, I will upload a video over on my channel so you guys can check it out. Anyways, hope you all have a good one. Best of luck in your future runs and I hope you get as much stars and rewards as you can. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.